What's up, brownies? I'm going to get straight to the point, make this brief, and hopefully my takeaway from this is going to be something different than the undoubtedly 8,000 other think pieces that are online about this apology video. In my mind, I spoke apology in air quotations. Here's the thing. Instead of paying attention to what Diddy said, I'm going to play it and tell you what he didn't say. Because when you edit out the bad acting and the dramatic pauses, but not necessarily any of his words, that video actually only lasts less than 40 seconds. So I'm going to play it, and I want you to listen to what he did not say, which is why I guess some people actually found this to be a real apology. All I see it as is a self-serving mistake. Let's get into it.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom.
So you begin the video by painting yourself as a victim and talking about what you were going through. And this is why I did what I did. Woe is me. I need this sympathy. Let's continue.
But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
The gag is, according to the court documents, what he's actually done in comparison, this is mild. This is light work in comparison to some of the other horrific demonic things that he did. But he wants you to know that I'm apologizing for what you have proof of, ocular proof of. I'm apologizing for what I got caught in doing. But I'm doing so without actually having to fully own it. In this video, in that video, he says that multiple times because he wants you to know that if you can't see the proof, it never happened. So I don't have to address what else I've done, just what you've seen. Let's continue.
Video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
So the problem with that statement is up until we had ocular proof of what you had done, you denied that it ever happened. But you just said I was disgusted then and I'm disgusted now, which means that when you were coming out with these statements of how you vehemently and categorically deny, blah, 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 none of this ever happened, you knew that you were lying because you had a memory of what had happened according to your statement just now. And if you didn't remember what happened, what were you going to therapy for and talking about? That's relevant to this apology video. But let's continue.
I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab.
So remember earlier, we heard this near billionaire talking about how he had hit rock bottom. Really? How so? Because you made over the years dozens, if not hundreds of videos celebrating your lavish lifestyle and rubbing it in other people's face. So if that's what rock bottom looks like, sign me up. Furthermore, you went to therapy and you went to rehab. Therapy and rehab could be for sports injuries. What type of therapy and rehab did you do and what for? See, this is admitting guilt without admitting guilt. See how he's doing this here? It's very clever. So you want to allude to drugs because for all of these other pending charges that you have, you want to place the blame for your behavior on substance abuse and usage. But for now, in this public video, you're just alluding to it. And that's before you get to the Christianity cop-out, which, there's no way that you all didn't know that this was coming. Let's continue to that last part.
I had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
So we knew that he was going to throw God in it. I'm skipping right over that. I know God just flat out sick of y'all. Anyway, here's my point. The defiance in the whole, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I hope that you saw that for what it was. What he's saying is not in a way to where he's trying to be humble. He's actually saying that whole only God can judge me and I'm not asking for forgiveness. Why are you coming on the internet and apologizing without saying who the person was in the video that you were stomping out, without admitting that it was Cassie, without apologizing to Cassie by name, and then stating what you did in the video, for what you saw in that video, or for what I did in that video. What did you do in that video? Diddy did it, right? So this is why, for me, if I were a public figure, these apologies would be a no-no. Mainly because of people doing and thinking what I'm doing right now, which is no matter what you say, the damage is already done and people have already made their mind up about it. And so no matter how sincere you may be, it's going to come off as insincere. And the general consensus is going to be, well, you're just saying this because you got caught, or you're only apologizing because of the backlash. But in this particular case, it's true. And this is how we know this. Because up until now, you have been denying that you did anything wrong. But in this statement, you're basically admitting that, yeah, I knew it and I remembered that I did it and I went to therapy for it or whatever. And so now I apologize. To whom? Tory Lanez. The court of public opinion doesn't matter. The only place that you need to say what you did and did not do is in a court of law. That's where you give your testimony. It's been too many. You see, Tory Lanez tried the exact same thing. On the internet, I'm going to write songs and taunt people and make statements about how innocent I am. But because I know I'm lying, I'm never going to get on a stand and commit perjury by saying that I didn't do anything wrong and that I'm not guilty. Because it's that easy. I heard the prophetess Lauryn Hill say it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard. What is so hard about naming the victim in this, saying exactly what you did, and then also maybe apologize to her, not your adoring fans that you're now afraid of losing favor with them? And by the way, for anybody like Slim Thug, who, when it was time to victim blame, you made multiple videos saying it with chest, but when it was time to walk it back, you just typed a few sentences and let it go. This is why victim blaming shouldn't be done. Because if the absence of evidence is what you use as the cop-out at the end of your statement, then if there was absence of evidence that something did happen, then it was also an absence of evidence that it didn't happen, right? Let me give you an example. You remember that case where there was a woman in the Ramble, like in City Park or whatever. She was walking Central Park. She was walking her dog, and it was in an area in the park that was restricted for your pets. And she was doing it anyway because of her privilege. And the exchange was being recorded. And so what she was saying to the black guy is, if you don't leave me alone in calling me out for doing something basically illegal or something that's against the rules, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the police and I'm going to say that some black man is harassing me and I'm afraid for my life. And this was being recorded the whole time. And we were able to see her launch into full fake victimhood mode. And we were able to see that it did not happen. This video was published, though, after the whole incident, after she called 911, so forth and so on. So if that man's sister had not put the video out on social media, we would not have had all of the story and the details, and people would have still been hollering, well, let's just wait till all of the facts come out. So the point is, there is a way that you could have evidence of the fact that a person was lying on you and that it did not happen in the way that they said. But the fact that no evidence had been put out one way or the other should have been enough for you to keep your mouth shut, instead of automatically taking up for somebody just because they're a black man, which is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. Your race or your gender does not prevent you from being a criminal. Diddy is a criminal. And all of these bodyguards and all of that are now coming out with their stories and their books, make no mistake about it, they are Diddy's partners in crime. It's not a surviving Diddy. They were supporting Diddy the entire time. They helped Diddy get away with all of this stuff the entire time. That's all I got.